Maggie, she knows the kings are friends. Maggie declines to dance, she won't work in a factory, though parents think she should. She's inclined academically, and so forth it's so. Maggie won't be a teenage bride. Maggie against the tide, she accepts the adversity. She always knew she could to attend university, and so forth it's so. Maggie, so far, so good. Maggie, so far, so good. Maggie, Maggie.
The wedding of Katrina and Alexander is the big storyline in Maggie next Monday at 6:05. In 5 minutes, in the last of the present series of Riverside, the television premiere of the two bands China and I, and there'll be opinion from Sex Pistols and Bow Wow Wow manager Malcolm McLaren. And that's followed by the series Imagined Worlds. There's no virtue in timidity is the attitude taken by scientist Tom Gold, whose theory is that the universe is continuously creating matter out of nothing, that the surface of the moon is covered in dust, and that the Earth contains a virtually endless supply of natural gas, have all initially caused outrage among other scientists. Imagined Worlds with Tom Gold at 7:30. Well, it's now 6:45, and time on 2 for the news summary from Peter Snow.
Good evening. The headlines tonight. Ford are cutting their prices from Thursday after criticism that cars are far cheaper on the continent. A joint commission of Anglicans and Catholics has agreed to recommend that the Pope should head a future united church. And the government is being urged to send the Royal Navy to intervene in the Falklands. Now, these and other stories with subtitles. Ford are cutting the price of most of their cars by an average of 4.5%. It means savings of £124 on the standard Fiesta 1.1 and over £3,300 on a top-range Granada Gear X. Ford say the cuts are to restore public confidence over the gap in car prices between Britain and the continent. It's thought that other British car makers will now come under pressure to make similar cuts. The Anglican and Roman Catholic churches have made a move towards reuniting after 400 years apart. A joint report from theologians on both sides recommends that a reunited church should accept the overall leadership of the Pope. But the report says this should not mean the suppression of the Anglican church traditions. The document comes after 11 years of talks on narrowing the gap between the two churches on doctrine. Britain's been asked to send naval reinforcements to the Falkland Islands. The request from the island's London spokesman follows reports of Argentine warships entering the area, and a group of men from Argentina are said to have landed on the Falklands dependency of South Georgia. The Foreign Secretary, Lord Carrington, is to make a statement about the affair in Parliament tomorrow. To do this, he's cutting short his stay at the Common Market Summit in Brussels. The two-day summit meeting of the 10 European Common Market leaders began this morning. After ceremonies marking the community's 25th anniversary, the summit got down to business. In El Salvador, the provisional results of yesterday's general election show there's been a very close finish. President Duarte's Christian Democrats have won about 40% of the vote, but no overall majority. The ultra-right-wing Arena party of Major Dabuisson came to a close second with 30%. It's thinking of forming an alliance in the new Constituent Assembly with other right-wing groups, and this would create a new situation for the United States, which has been backing President Duarte in the civil war being waged by left-wing guerrillas. The Polish leader, General Jaruzelski, has paid a one-day visit to East Germany. He received an elaborate welcome in East Berlin. It's only his second trip abroad since martial law began. Back home, the Shadow Home Secretary Roy Hattersley has warned Britain's police chiefs to stay out of politics. In a speech in Sheffield, he singled out Sir David McNee and Mr James Anderton for criticism. He claimed Sir David had spent 2 years on what he called deeply dangerous campaigns with political aims. And he suggested that Mr Anderton might have made an ass of himself with some of his recent comments. The government's decision to buy the Trident II nuclear missile was criticised by a Tory MP in the Commons today. The former Cabinet Minister Sir Hugh Fraser said he wouldn't be supporting the government in tonight's Commons vote. He said the government were buying the wrong weapon from the wrong firm at the wrong time. The Dutch boat Flyer was the first to reach Portsmouth at the end of the Whitbread round-the-world yacht race. She completed the 27,000-mile trip in 120 days, cutting 14 days off the previous world record. But because handicaps have to be taken into account, her crew have to wait for 4 days before they know if they've won. Newsnight at 10:45 will report from El Salvador on the result of the election there and its significance. John Stapleton is in San Salvador to talk to the principals involved and to gauge the reaction. Here at home, we'll be looking at today's church report, which calls for the Pope to be head of a new united Anglican and Roman Catholic communion. And we'll be hearing both sides of an argument over an American concert tour here and where it should be allowed to play. That's Newsnight at 11:15.
Panorama on BBC1 this evening hopes to include live pictures of the landing in New Mexico of the American Space Shuttle Columbia a few minutes before 8:30. And now look at the weather. Apart from a few showers near the east coast tonight, most of Britain will be dry with clear periods, and a slight frost is likely in places by morning. By tomorrow, northwest Scotland will have clouded over with a little rain at times, and this cloudier weather will spread to other northern and western parts during the day, but many places will stay dry. In the south and east, it will be rather cold again, with showers and some sunny intervals. Temperatures will range from 7 centigrade, 45 Fahrenheit near eastern coasts with a cold north wind, to 11 centigrade, that's 52 degrees Fahrenheit, in northwestern parts. Now on 2 we go down for the last time in the current series to the Riverside.